Fire signs, hi. That's for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This is your full moon and Cancer reading and what to expect. In the middle of your spread, you got 10 of Cups, which tells me you're cutting your losses. You know, you could have made this decision in and around this full moon, and you're taking action and moving forward in your life with confidence. Fire signs, you're kind of cutting your losses feeling almost. There's a like kind of just abandoning where you are and willing to start all over. There's this walking away, and you're leaving things behind to find fulfillment. And some of you with the Four of Wands here in reverse is, are realizing that your environment, whether this be home, a living situation, your marriage, a relationship, friendships, I don't know, apply the energy to your situation. Whatever this is, you're also transitioning out of that. I feel this moon in Cancer is making you start to reevaluate your friendship circle, your jobs. You're being more careful in your friendship circles, who you give your best self to, because you're realizing that when you give it to the wrong people, they take you for granted and they're unworthy of your gifts, right? And save that energy for people who genuinely appreciate you and what you have to offer, and return the kindness, right? Where I think that is, there's two people for a specific fire sign here that you could be leaving behind. Like there's no more words to be said. With the Five of Swords here, sometimes the victory is just not worth the cost, and there could just be endless disagreements and not being able to come, to a neutrality with them. It's just I feel like it's almost abusive emotionally and spiritually for your soul. So you're letting all of this go, and you're going to cut your losses, and you're going to step into the next path after this full moon. And what it brings for you is this remembrance, this reminder from the perspective of you being a unique soul. When the Creator made you, someone always tells me they broke the mold, right? There's not another person on earth like you. And the next chapter is allowing you to celebrate being different. However way that looks to you, you may not know yet, right? But this Cancer moon is going to have you take some time out for yourself, to nurture yourself, to have compassion, to take time out to reassess, to simplify your life, to pull back so that you can get awareness of the larger context. And during this time, fire signs, there's times when not knowing, is also helpful, right? Like during these times, you develop this unconditional trust at the same time, in the universe. Like, okay, I surrender. I'm on my hands and knees. I'm on my knees and my hands are in palm in prayer, and just allowing you to show me the next steps. Like sometimes it just takes that. Sometimes, you living your life according to your personal truth starts to come forward this way when you surrender, because you've tried everything your way. And obviously, if things are crumbling, it's because the universe is trying to move you to the next direction. And I just did a podcast with someone today, and we were talking about this, like how a lot of people are feeling unhappy in their current jobs, like things that came up for you in COVID. Like those things are going to come around again, and for you to reassess, to check in with your higher self. Are you content, happy, and complete where you are right now? Yes, many of you may love your jobs. I know I love my job. I love being around children and I love teaching, right? But at the same time, I hated the bureaucracy and the red tape that I had to deal with, where I was limited in being able to teach what I wanted in the classroom. I wanted to teach more meditation and mindfulness and breath work, and I had to work around it, and I was still able to manage it, and I did it, but I'm also a rule breaker. So it's really hard for me to work under those rules that I feel are too rigid. So that's why I left teaching. So for a lot of you, it's the same thing. I feel like, you're creators, and that's what the next chapter is gonna bring out. What is it that you're here to do? What is your divine purpose? So if you'd like a reading on this, please email me and book a session for a life path reading. I can tune into what your spiritual and creative gifts are, and help you activate them, because we all have them. We all have different ones. Some are stronger than others, but the creator made us as unique, beautiful souls to share those gifts with the world, not to numb them or forget about them, right? So you're being realistic. Yes, at the same time, you're not just going to leave your job or your marriage or this, your community. You're going to plant the seeds. But a lot of you don't know how to get there is because there could be a lack of faith. There could be despair you've been holding on to. There's a discouraged feeling for a lot of fire signs. Insecurities could come up, like what else can I be doing? Like what this is all I'm used to, right? So it's you've disconnected from your spirit for a long time, because that's what happens in the hamster wheel of life. Everybody becomes robotic. You grab your coffee, you look at your phone while you're driving to work, you're making your phone calls, you're rushing to work, you get to work, and then you do the thing over again the next day. Then you have other things that you're doing when you get home. So really, there's hardly any time for you. So I also coach a lot of people on how to develop grounding spiritual practices as a part of daily life. Because if you don't make yourself a priority, especially emotionally and spiritually, and you're not connected to your higher self, and give yourself, even if it's 5 minutes every morning of praying and meditating, or just sitting with your breath, if you're not doing that for you, how can you expect that out of anybody? Because you reflect what you are on the inside, right? So if you're emotionally and spiritually unavailable for yourself, chances are you're going to attract people like that, right? So I think you're going to get to a level where you're going to be reminded of the conqueror in you, that you can overcome any of these challenges, as some of you are walking away from that career, as some of you are going to be content creators, some of you are going to establish little creative project businesses, endeavors, passion projects, right? And it's all in alignment with in service. And when you're on purpose, when you are in divine alignment, it means that this is what you're supposed to be doing on a higher level of consciousness, meaning it serves mankind. Whether you're making candles for people, whether you're sewing clothes for people, you're cleaning, it doesn't matter what it is. But if it's something that you're good at, you can definitely create something to help other people. There's always a service that people need. And in the age of Aquarius that we are in today, fire signs are very good at leading the pack, right? Are leading the other zodiacs in this, because we're passionate people, and we're here to lead. So for some of you, you may feel with the star card here in the reverse in the future, you may feel like, but I don't know any of that stuff. I haven't, because you don't have the time. You haven't put the time. So maybe reassess where you're putting your days off, your time off after work. Maybe if you want to learn something, you make time for that. That's why some people are you're growing apart with certain people in your life, so that you could attract better those that you're when you make space for that. Sometimes you're called to be alone in solitude for a bit, so you can contemplate and meditate on what your next steps are. And it's in stillness and being at peace within yourself that you're going to be able to hear the inner guidance system. The universe is always communicating with us 24 hours a day. The signs are all there if you're willing to go deeper, right? So you're one thing I can help you with if you're struggling with this is to find out what makes you joyful. Start to do the things that you used to do when you were younger, before you went to college, right? Before you got that job. Like some of you I see loved journaling and writing. Actually, that is automatic writing. You can activate your spiritual channeling gifts just through writing. I wrote journals all my life, and it makes total sense to me. I had about 27 diaries, at least in my high school years. I was always writing, so I didn't realize, looking back in retrospect, that I was actually channeling. So we don't know these things, but then when we get into the system, we are programmed to think that, okay, you're programmed into a certain job that you're meant to do. Okay, this is what you're going to teach, this is the curriculum, and you stick to this, right? You don't change anything, you follow what we tell you. So you lose your sense of self, you lose your sense of creativity, and you're using more of your left hemisphere of the brain, which is your logical brain, which is also important. It's good to keep that part active with daily routines, but your right brain gets shut off, and it weakens your ability to think for yourself. It weakens your ability to be more creative, and we are all creators, right? So, after, being out of touch with your creativity, some of you probably get creative on the weekends. Hopefully some of you are, tapping into untapped talents like art, music, writing, whatever that is to you. Everyone has their own vices and how you can express this artistry, right? That's why art is important for us to keep in the school system and show even children. For some of you that thinking about like homeschooling, you can learn so much just by being in nature. You can learn to make things from nature. You can make things out of anything. So I feel like you're going to balance your yin and yang. This Cancer full moon coming up is going to bring up a lot. Might have some misunderstandings, arguments, and separations happening around this full moon. And it's because it's moving you towards where you need to be. Okay? Things will improve, right? And you're gonna, if you need help, come book an email me and book a session with me. There's always a solution to every problem. And you are a resourceful light being. You have everything you need inside of you. And then the things that you can't do on your own, you can manifest and call in for help. There's always support. Sometimes it comes in a book, sometimes it comes in a podcast, sometimes it comes in a YouTube channel, sometimes it comes through my readings, sometimes it comes from a conversation you overhear. So the only way you're going to see these signs is if you are present in your joy and not stuck between the past and anxious about the future, which makes you less present in your day. Fire signs. So because especially fire, that energy is always going. Let's pull you some, let's see, use my moon phase cards. What do fire signs need to know for the full moon? Communication is key. So with that, maybe talking through things. If you can't talk to another person, journal it, write it. Let the full moon pass a little bit, and then allow, the fresh start to happen when the full moon, passes. Wait like 2 to 3 days and let things settle. Don't do it right before or on. People are very heated during this time. I've studied this pattern for years. So, write it in a journal just so you can let it out at least. And then Spirit will show you when the right time is to be able to express this when people are calm, or make sure you're calm, right? Take care of yourself first before you take care of other people. Let's pull one of these artist cards for you. Fire. I'm going to take one. Let's do this one. You got Andy Warhol. I loved Andy Warhol in the 80s. I thought he was pretty cool, especially his Marilyn Monroe pieces and the Campbell soup. So it's basically with Andy Warhol, he was so eccentric that like he's somebody that like would love to eat dessert before dinner, right? I've tried that one time. And basically it's a reminder to like give yourself some time, and think about what you want. Think about what you want. And it's sometimes that could actually be better than having. I don't know where I'm getting those words, but that's what's coming through me through Andy Warhol here. So think about how you would design your days if you weren't working in that career. Think about like how you don't even have to plan your day. Your soul kind of, through self-love, you kind of establish a routine naturally, right? It's like try and aspire to profound practicality. It's simple as less is more. That's what I'm learning on this path of awakening, and be unbending in your flexibility. It's going to teach you. It's going to grow you. It's beautiful. Fire signs, you're very realistic. Get your head out of the clouds and around the full moon. Take a salt bath, and like begin to see things the way they really are, and not wear those rosy tinted glasses. That's the main message I get for you in and around this full moon.